breaking news on the submission by former President Jacob Zuma's legal team of a medical report to the National Prosecuting Authority. Let's talk about the next step now for the Pietermaritzburg High Court and the NPA, especially when you look at the delays to the start of the Amstel corruption trial.
That's correct, Bongi. Of course, there's a lot of activity, especially for a Friday night. And in politics, there's never a dull moment. And of course, going on to the matter of the former president, we do know that the matter is meant to go back to court on the 8th and the 9th of September. And when the matter resumes back at the Pietermaritzburg High Court, what will be determined, the court will look at the medical report that has been submitted, and then we'll make a determination whether the former president is fit to stand trial or not. And of course, we already saw that there was an argument in court earlier when the postponement was announced, where the counsel for the NPA had raised questions about the vagueness of the letter that was submitted to court earlier. But anyway, that was what will be determined before the issue of the trial is discussed. And of course, we may not have some answers to some of these questions, but we do have someone who might answer some of the questions that we have. That is Mr. Zwanele Manyi, who speaks for the Jacob Zuma Foundation. Mr. Manyi, good evening and welcome to News at Prime. I guess the starting point for us would be to find out, how is the former president? Is he still in hospital?
Yes, indeed. He's still in hospital, and we hope that very soon matters will be resolved so that he can resume the normality, which is the absurd normality. So we are at the hands of the doctors as things stand. They haven't said anything at this point about having him removed from the hospital.
Is his situation improving? Is there any improvement, any developments that you can perhaps share with some of his followers and with South Africans?
Look, I think where things stand, you summarize it very well. Where things stand right now is that the medical report, which was delayed a bit because of unforeseen circumstances in terms of the medical procedure, which was not anticipated, so that caused that delay. So now that we've gone over that hurdle, the doctors have now submitted the current report that is in front of the court now, and then that report will determine left or right. If everyone is happy, then the 9th is on. We proceed. If someone else is not happy, then that unhappiness will be dealt with, and there are processes that are predetermined in terms of dealing with whichever party is unhappy with whatever that report is saying.
Sure, and I know that the foundation has been very vocal about the issue of justice, the principle of justice being seen to be delayed in this particular matter. And I do also know that, in fact, we do also know that the matter is meant to be on the court roll for a specific period. Can we, knowing what you know and what we probably don't know as South Africans, can we anticipate that this trial will get underway anytime this year, realistically?
No, this year, definitely. I think the trial will get underway this year. There's a lot to be traversed. I think the very first thing really to be dealt with is the title to prosecute of the prosecutor of the NPA. So as soon as we can get that out of the way, then we can get to the real meat of this thing. I think if NPA had, if they really had the interests of South Africans, they would not be mounting an unnecessary opposition to this, so that we can get on with the trial. Right now, the people that are likely to block this trial from proceeding is NPA, because they are insisting on just having this one person, as if without this person, the wheels come off.
And Mr. Manyi, for the benefit of our viewers, obviously when you say this trial will resume this year, that also means that the former president will probably be available to attend court sometime this year, right?
We always work on hope. We always work positively, because we know that President Zuma has got quite a lot to deal with in court. He really wants to set the record straight. He really wants people of South Africa to know the real truth behind this arms deal thing. President Zuma has been characterized as this corrupt person, as it were, and he's not corrupt at all. But for that for everybody to appreciate that, everybody must get the rest of the information. This is why we would call upon people like yourselves to put pressure on these other organizations to provide information that we've requested. Places like the African National.
In fact, I'll get to that question, actually. I will get to that question. But before we get to go to the ANC, can you tell us, I know that the state, which is the NPA in this instance, were given an opportunity to do their own medical assessment of the former president. Do you know if this has happened already?
That would have been out of order. What would have given rise to that? It could not have happened. It should not have happened.
No, but that was what was agreed to in court, though, Mr. Manyi.
No. The trigger for that was the report that has just been on the table. Now, if the report that is coming on the table, everyone is happy with that report, there's no reason for NPA to do anything else. Now, if you are telling me that even before the report is out, NPA was busy trying to do something behind the scenes and all of that, that would be grossly incorrect. That would be very wrong. That would be a violation of everything.
Sure. Mine was just to ascertain whether it had happened. So effectively you are saying that given the fact that now the report has been submitted, you don't think there will be a need for the NPA to do their assessment, correct?
No.
Sure.
Now that the report is on the table, either all parties agree that the report gives green light for everyone. See, that's the first thing. If that happens, then all systems go for everyone. But it may happen that the report is saying other things that don't give a green light from the one party. For argument's sake, let's say from the legal team of President Zuma, they read this report and they understand it to mean that President Zuma won't be ready, and so on. So that is another matter that would then have to be dealt with differently.
Sure. And I'm sure on this one, it will depend on what is agreed upon by the relevant parties, which is the NPA and the defense here. And I'm sure it won't be for you. I get your sentiments, Mr. Manyi. But I want us to get to the issue you had raised about the ANC. You have said that the request for the records, financial records of the ANC by the former president, that those letters were legitimate. We've heard the ANC say that it does not have those financial records. What now for the legal team? What is the next step for the Jacob Zuma legal team now that the ANC say it doesn't have the records?
No, look, obviously at some point the legal team will engage on other processes to get to the next phase. As to what those processes are, the legal team has not pronounced yet, and they are still hoping that, I suspect, the ANC will just do the right thing and stop playing monkey tricks. So we hope that that's going to happen very soon. But if it doesn't happen, I'm almost sure that Advocate Mpofu will know exactly what to do. So we'll wait for Advocate Mpofu to pronounce the next steps if that process is being frustrated.
Mr. Manyi speaks for the Jacob Zuma Foundation. Thank you very much for your time. And there you heard it. He's telling us that he anticipates that this trial that is the Zuma corruption trial, will resume sometime this year, which in effect means that he does anticipate that the former president will be able to stand trial. But obviously that is a matter that will be ventilated on the 8th and the 9th of September at the Pietermaritzburg High Court, now that the NPA has those outstanding medical records that they sought from the Zuma medical team, legal team.